Hey, what's going on, everybody? Trying something different. I talked about this a little while ago. Normally I would do recorded episodes, but I figured let me start trying to do some live ones. So you see me here. I'm rocking. If you see me on Sports Empire Network, I've been rocking the Ken Griffey hat look. Gonna continue that. Have my reasons, but like I said, just testing this out. See how well it does with you guys, and see if you guys like this or not. Have a few topics I want to talk about today, but I do want to let you know that it's kind of been maybe like a week or so since I did an episode, but I have been doing the FIFA 23 career mode on the channel. So make sure you check that out. A lot of fun, building a team from the ground up, leading into EA Sports FC, trying to get my gamer thing going. So that's kind of what I've been doing the past week or so. But I did want to get back into doing these episodes as well as that. Trust me, the FIFA stuff is going to continue, but I want to get back into, you know, talking with you all. So let's go ahead. Not going to waste much of your time. Let's go ahead and get into this first topic. And here we go. So looking at Major League Baseball, trade deadline coming up. If you guys don't know, I'm a Red Sox fan. And for me, this trade deadline is going to be very interesting because the Red Sox are in a situation where if they wanted to sell, you could probably see the reasoning for it. Although I want them to buy, no doubt about that. I would like to see them get a couple of pitchers. I think the offense will be fine, but whatever. Everybody's gonna be looking at Shohei Ohtani for what's going on, Jordan? For the trade deadline to see what did the Angels actually do with him. So when I look at the Angels situation, they've had Shohei, they've had Mike Trout. Most people say those are two of the best players in baseball, yet it hasn't translated to them winning much of anything on the field. I feel like it's getting to the point where they have to make a serious decision because Shohei's contract ends at the end of the season. If they have indications that he wouldn't resign there, which it kind of seems like that's where we're heading towards this, then why not trade him at the deadline? Now, unfortunately, 3-4 years ago, they gave Mike Trout that 12-year deal for like 420 something million. I think at this point, that contract, yes, Mike Trout, for all the talent that he has, but let's be honest. If you were running a team, you had Mike Trout, you had Shohei Ohtani, which one would you keep? I'd keep Ohtani. So I feel like if the Angels could redo history, they'd be in a situation where Ohtani was signed long term, Trout at the end of his deal, then you possibly look to move him. So the crazy thing is, the better of the two might get moved out only because Trout was just there earlier. And look, there's no reason to keep him, like I said, because if he's just going to walk, then you lose him for nothing. Like, what message does that send to your fans? At least, I was going on Mo, see you in here. At least if you trade him, you can get a bunch of prospects, you can get some players involved, because you have to think Ohtani's going to get you a very big haul on the open market, well, in the trade market. So I think that's the only thing the Angels can really do. Unless they can convince him to take a long-term deal, which if I'm Shohei, to be honest with you, what am I doing that for? When I could potentially go to a contender. The Yankees are out there. I mean, on Sports Empire, had to give him credit. He threw out like Baltimore and teams like that. I think there's a lot of teams out there that will take the risk, trade some prospects away, bring on an Ohtani, hopefully try to win it all. Then maybe they convince him to stay. Or if he walks, at least you got that World Series out of it. So I think the Angels have backed themselves into a corner because of what's going on, Coach. because of the fact that Trout's already signed for so much money and the success just hasn't been there. So, you know, those of you tuning in, like I said, Coach, Mo, Jordan, if you're still here, I mean, where do you think he ends up going? I'm not. I would love to see him in the Red Sox. That's just me being a homer. But I also know for the Red Sox to get him, like they'd probably have to gut their farm system, which isn't necessarily the deepest it's been. So my worry would be that they make those moves. Ohtani ends up leaving in the offseason because whether or not the front office wants to pay him what he's looking for or whatever, then you're losing him, plus the prospects that are supposed to be coming down the pipeline at some key positions for the Red Sox. So I guess for me, Ohtani maybe hopefully goes somewhere else, and then maybe in the offseason the Red Sox can maybe put together some type of offer for him. I don't know, but we know Ohtani's going to be maybe the hottest player that's been available at the trade deadline in quite some time in baseball. I think it's going to bring some good attention to the game as well. So we'll see. You know, things could change. Maybe the Angels hold on to him. You know, wait for Trout to kind of come back. Hopefully they get on a little bit of run, get back into the playoff picture. I just wouldn't bank on that because I don't have that much faith in the Angels, to be honest with you. But something worth watching. Plus, there's other big names that could get moved. You know, there's some teams that are really underperforming. You know, the White Sox, they should basically just put up a yard sale sign and make everybody available. You know, the Cubs have been underwhelming. The Cardinals are struggling. And these are teams with some pretty decent names. You know, Dylan Cease with the White Sox. You have Stroman, Bellinger with the Cubs. You have what are the names that might be out there? I mean, well, the Mets have been struggling, but I don't think they're probably going to go full on fire sale or anything, although some of their fans probably would love to see that with some of the guys they have there. And there's going to be a lot of teams looking to buy. I just mentioned my Red Sox need pitching. Yankees need bats, multiple, plural. Not going to bash the Yankees, but they would love to get somebody who could hit over 260 outside of Aaron Judge. The Rangers are really good this year. I could see them adding a piece or two. So I think it's going to be an active trade deadline, which any sport, when their trade deadline comes up, if it's an active period, always good for the sport. All right, so go ahead and go to the next topic we got here. DeAndre Hopkins found a new home, so good for him. If you look at it, he found a home before Dame Lillard, but that's neither here nor there. It was kind of an extensive process. You know, he did the visit with Tennessee, did the visit with New England. That seemed like months ago at this point. He's kind of sitting around mulling his decisions. Some people were wondering, is he holding out to possibly, go to Kansas City or Buffalo or one of these teams that might be a little bit closer to a Super Bowl, if that's what his intentions are, to play on a winner, which is why the dysfunction going on in Arizona, he was definitely running from. And that's not a bad thing, because what's going on in Arizona, if I'm DeAndre Hopkins, why would I have stayed there either? But as time was kind of going on and we weren't really hearing much about him taking on other visits, it really seemed like it was coming down to Tennessee and New England. Once again, as a Patriots fan, would I have loved to see DeAndre Hopkins with the Patriots? Yes. I'm also one of those who believes that the Patriots' skill position group isn't as dire as some people are making it out to be. Once again, not saying we don't need DeAndre Hopkins, but I just think the upgrade from Bill O'Brien, getting away from Matt Patricia, that's going to help the offense right there. Yes, DeAndre Hopkins would have been a great piece, but, Belichick and whatever could not put together a deal that enticed Hopkins enough. So he's in Tennessee now. A lot of people, when they first heard the news of that, were wondering why. to be honest with you, I'm not mad at it. He got a good deal, got some good money. The situation is not the worst. He's got a competent quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. There's the potential there with an offense being run with Derrick Henry that the two of them could just feed off of each other and really help each other out. You're looking at Derrick Henry and all the attention he, warrants from defenses trying to load the box against him. Now you can't do that because you got DeAndre Hopkins on the outside. So that's going to loosen up the box for Henry, which then helps Tennessee set up play action, which I think feeds right into Ryan Tannehill's wheelhouse. And when you get into play action, if the defense gets caught looking into the backfield or sucking up a little bit, Hopkins could get over the top. There could be some potential there. Look, Vrabel's a great coach. Yes, his defensive mind and all that, which seems like that's like a taboo word or phrase in the NFL these days, but I think it could definitely work in Tennessee. The division is wide open. Even though Jacksonville was really good last year, we have to see them do it again. We can't necessarily call last year the norm until they do it multiple seasons. And I fully expect them to because they have a lot of talent there in Jacksonville with Lawrence coming into his own, getting better and better each season. Etienne, the guys, Christian Kirk, so they have pieces there. But once you get past that, if I'm Tennessee, I feel like the division is right there for me. And bringing in a Hopkins could be what sets us apart from Jacksonville. The rest of the division, Houston, Indy are in full rebuild mode. Both of them will have rookie quarterbacks. So we don't know what to expect from those two teams. So it's definitely going to come down to Tennessee and Jacksonville in this division. And it's a move that you got to give Tennessee credit for. Absolutely. So, shout out to them. We'll see how they do this upcoming season. Does DeAndre Hopkins hit the ground running, put up some big numbers early in the season, kind of take some of the load off of Derrick Henry? That's what I think Titans fans are looking forward to. Speaking of young quarterbacks, I believe earlier today, Bryce Young signed his rookie deal. So, good for him. He's officially a Carolina Panther, which, obviously that deal is going to get done. So definitely stay tuned for, later episodes where I'll go through my predictions for this upcoming season. Might do that sometime this weekend. So, if you're tuning in, make sure that you check out make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're over on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, Kick. Yeah, so follow me there. That way you'll know when I drop new episodes. And like I said, kind of get away from the recorded ones. Going to try to do these lives going forward. Have a lot of fun with these. Now, sticking with the NFL feel, we got Saquon Barkley, who, if you haven't paid attention to this story, kind of hard not to, but got the franchise tag, wasn't happy with it, wanted the team to kind of give him a new deal. They couldn't come to an agreement. Franchise tag window kind of comes and goes. And now Saquon's kind of left in limbo, if you would say. Plus, coming from that, we've been hearing a lot about these other running backs. Jonathan Taylor spoke out a few weeks ago. Eckler. We've heard from Derrick Henry. We've even heard from former players who aren't even running backs like Pac-Man Jones and guys like that. Now people are talking about, is it fair to these running backs? What's going on here? And all this kind of stuff. Look, we've seen, trends like this in other sports. Look at the NBA. Remember when the NBA was dominated by your low post big man who you just threw the ball into and made them and let them go to work? We're kind of far away from those days now. Now big men are stretch bigs. Yes, they get your rebounds. Some of them, not even all of them. Some of them are rim protectors, but for the most part, you're now watching an NBA where 6'10", 7-foot guys are hanging on the perimeter. Some of them are taking defenders off the dribble. So I feel like each sport goes through these kind of corrections and changes in, I guess like the vision of roster building. So unfortunately, I think for guys like Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Zeke Elliott, those type of guys, they just hit free agency at the absolute wrong time, actually the worst possible time. So and now they are feeling the pinch of that. Don't really know what to say in terms of how to fix that, only because how do you fix that? You can't force teams to sign players they may not necessarily want to at the number that player wants. Because I mean the Barkley stuff, it seemed like he and the Giants are like a couple million apart. I mean, for negotiations, that's not that big of a deal, but it was enough to keep the two sides from agreeing. Josh Jacobs, they said he was in the parking lot ready for a deal to come down so you can go and sign it. Didn't happen. So the unfortunate thing is like these guys may have to hang around for a little bit while training camp maybe goes through. Then maybe they can approach the team, or maybe it's just a game of chicken right now between these players in the front office to see who budges first. Because Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing last year. If the Raiders start the season and struggle mightily, which they very well could do, there's going to be pressure from media people, from their fans, to bring in Josh Jacobs. Whatever fans will get to the point where it's like whatever his number is, give it to him. We don't care. We just want to see better product on the field. Same thing with Saquon Barkley in New York. We know the New York media, Giants are a big brand in New York. Those fans are not going to sit on their hands and be quiet if the team does not look right. If Saquon Barkley's not out there weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, then once again, they'll put pressure on their front office to bring in Saquon Barkley. They gave big money to Daniel Jones. Understand it's the era of the quarterback. So most teams, if you have one that's somewhat competent, those guys are getting paid. If you have one of the mega superstars, obviously those guys are getting crazy paid. Daniel Jones falls into that category of, serviceable, improving, stuff like that. Where Daniel Jones is not an established quarterback. He's not a top 10 guy in this league. Some could argue whether or not he's even top 15. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, this is going to be kind of a probably multi-year struggle, because Jonathan Taylor spoke out against the trend last month, I believe it's been about 4 weeks now. He spoke out about last month, and he's laying the groundwork for next season when he has to go through these negotiations. If guys like Barkley and Josh Jacobs are having trouble, now it's going to be on Jonathan Taylor. Does he take the Saquon Barkley stance, or does he do the Joe Mixon? Joe Mixon, took less to stay in Cincinnati because Cincinnati made it very clear. They're paying Joe Burrow. They're going to pay the 3 wide receivers. Somebody's missing from that equation. Joe Mixon could have dug his heels in the sand, forced them to maybe move him or whatever. But I think he understands the situation he's in with Cincinnati and feels like if he takes a little less and they become a Super Bowl winner, he's willing to take that trade-off. So that's where some of these top tiered running backs might have to make that decision. So then bringing it back to Saquon Barkley, he did a radio interview where he spoke about his current situation, basically opened the door to the idea of him pulling a Le'Veon Bell. Once again, if you don't remember the Le'Veon Bell situation, he was with, I believe it was Pittsburgh at the time, unhappy with his contract. I think it was the final year like of his deal or something. Just sat out the year. Came back, got his deal with, I want to say it was the Jets after. Didn't look like the same guy. Moved on. I think went to Kansas City. Looked even worse. Then his career was kind of done. So Barkley is definitely taking that risk if he does sit out the whole year, especially for a guy who, is commanding big money, but last season was the only season he'd been healthy. So from the Giants' point of view, you could kind of see where they might be hesitant to give this guy big money over multiple years. So it's going to be the, I guess, stare down of the season if it carries into the regular season. Which side budges first, Barkley or the Giants front office? Once again, sticking with the NFL theme, if you don't know who this is, I don't blame you. His name is, I want to get this right, I think it's Kevin Maxson. He's the strength coach for the Jaguars. You might be asking yourself, okay, so what did he do? So yesterday he, let everybody know that, he came out as gay. Which 2023, yes, that still makes news. It's kind of a, I mean, it's still news, but should it really be news? Yes, there are still some fans who view sports a certain way, and stories like this, I get it. But it's going to be, I mean, yeah, I give him credit. He felt comfortable enough with, his situation and his skin to make that public, because we know it's been kind of a slow shift, maybe in comfortability with, teammates and players dealing with this type of announcement. Like I said, I definitely have no problem with it. Congratulate him for being open about it. And now I think we can move on from it. But like I said, this is Kevin Maxson, Jaguars strength coach. And yeah, not too much really to say about that. I just wanted to throw it in there to shout him out for, making a decision that's definitely tough for a lot of people around the sports world. All right, so now we got the Women's World Cup. If you've been paying attention, it started, Friday? No, not Friday. It started Thursday. Yes, Thursday night. Because it's in New Zealand, the times are kind of all over the place. There's games that come on at so last night a game came on at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. The next game was 1 in the morning, then 3:30 in the morning. And it kind of goes that cycle throughout these first few days of the group stage. So depending on where you live in the country, it may not be the most convenient catching these games, but most of the, I think Fox and all that's running the games later to kind of get more people watching who can't watch it at that time. And I think it's an exciting time. You guys already know, you see me do the watch longs for the U.S. team. Big soccer fan. I've been tuning into the Women's World Cup. I haven't seen every game, to be honest with you. I've seen a good amount of them because of the time, to be honest, to keep it real with you. But I definitely have caught up with highlights of the games I missed. So the U.S. has won the previous 2 World Cups, and they are looking to go for the three-peat, which I don't care what sport it is. You pull off a three-peat, that is definitely something to celebrate. It's very difficult to accomplish. And for this U.S. team, it may not be as easy as it's been previous years. We have some countries around the world that are starting to catch up, close that gap between, how great and dominant the U.S. has been over the years. Not to say that they're what's going on, young Kobe? Appreciate you tuning in. They're not, they're still dominant. Don't get me wrong, but I just think the gap between the U.S. and the world is not as wide as it used to be. So, with that, I put up Megan Rapinoe. She has said that after this World Cup, she's going to retire. She's going to retire from club football as well. What a way for, the U.S. to send her off if they could just win the whole tournament. Get the three-peat. Megan Rapinoe, who's been a big part of the previous two. I feel like she's going to have a lesser role in this World Cup because, yes, she's an older player now. The U.S. has some younger players that they're going to be featuring at this World Cup, where I think that also lends itself to the rest of the world closing the gap a little bit, because a lot of the big names that we're used to have kind of moved on from the U.S., and now we're getting newer players into it. So young Kobe says, I hope Vietnam gets a goal. Hopefully this doesn't turn out into a Thailand game. I mean, yes, I'd like to see that as well, because Vietnam is a team. It's their first appearance. It's like 8 teams in this World Cup where it's their first appearance ever. I love stories like that when it comes to World Cups. I feel like even U.S. fans who might be there would probably be rooting for Vietnam to get a goal as well. Vietnam's a team I've seen some of the highlights from their previous games. They play a 3-5-1-1 formation. They kind of play very defensive and try to get out in the counter. So when you watch the game tonight, like I said, the U.S. Vietnam is tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. When you watch that game, you might see Vietnam get players behind the ball, play very conservatively. Because like I said, they are still trying to develop their soccer federation. They're very young, very new and all that. So I don't think the talent level is necessarily going to be there for them to hang with the U.S. team. But the experience is going to be monumental for Vietnam going forward. So yes, I would not mind seeing them score a goal. I think it would do a lot for those players and their confidence, which, like I said, wouldn't be mad at. But I do definitely see the U.S. I could see like a 5-1 type of game, although part of me thinks it's going to be a shutout. But I will root for Vietnam to get one. So like I said, they play 3-5-1-1. Don't think that's a formation you see a lot, but we'll see how it works. Because like I said, the U.S. has some young faces. First time in a World Cup, we don't know how they'll perform. It'll be good to see, Trinity Rodman, who, is highly ranked, a lot of anticipation with her game. See her on a World Cup stage like this, where she has a good tournament, like could send her to crazy superstardom. Who else we got? Like Julie Ertz on the team. You have, hold on. So young Kobe. I'm rooting for Nigeria, but dang, they were so frustrating. They didn't look organized at all. Hopefully they can bounce back. Yeah. I was thinking if Nigeria was another team that this is their first World Cup, but I don't think so. But that is actually a good point, because when you look at a lot of these nations, especially when it comes to women's soccer, a lot of these countries don't put a lot of money into the women's team, unfortunately. And I could probably guess that's what's going on with Nigeria. Their men's team, I guess historically has been, better in a lot of these international countries. Once again, not to get all sociological or whatever, men are treated much differently than women, let's be honest. So that's a struggle for a lot of these international countries. Well, I don't know why I did that. There we go. Yeah, so a lot of these international federations put these women's teams out there. They have limited practice time. They're going through coaches left and right. It's just hard for them to really establish anything. And until some of these countries start paying more attention to the women's team, they will continue to look a certain way on this grand stage when they go up against, the U.S. is established. England's really come on lately. Spain's good. The Netherlands are good. Germany. Um, so yeah, I get that. Even their jerseys were kind of generic. That's what I'm saying. It's like when you see certain countries play during this tournament, you will tell which ones actually get backing from their federation and which ones are kind of just left out there to do their own thing. Like, I think it's embarrassing. Nigeria's got money. We know they have money. And to send women to a major tournament like this and have them ill prepared for it. Now, maybe it's just the first game and maybe overreacting here, but like it's the least some of these countries can do. Like, don't have them out there playing in something that looks like, I don't know, a default jersey on 2K or FIFA or something. Like, at least give them a jersey to be proud to have on. And I mean, we'll see it with even some of the, yeah, exactly. They're the richest country in Africa. Why is the women's team in some generic jersey? But like I said, the way, look, we see it in the U.S. Men, women fighting for equality. Some would think it's bad here, but it's like a utopia here compared to some of these international places, which unfortunately is the truth. And hopefully it's something that, kind of gets better in the future. But we obviously know that some countries will be slow to it compared to others. The U.S. had their fight for equal pay and everything, even though the women's team is better on the world stage than the men. They still weren't making the same amount of money, but I mean, we know how that fight was going. Some Create Club jerseys are better. Also very true. Because like I said, I'm doing a Create Club on FIFA 23 right now, which Young Kobe, if you haven't checked those videos out, you should check those out. But yeah, I took some time, created a jersey on there that, yes, looks better. So that's kind of like the backdrop to the Women's World Cup every time, we get there. And like Vietnam is another team that is fairly new to women's soccer. So they're at times they're gonna look like, a middle school type of squad going up against the professionals when they are on the pitch against the US tonight. And yes, some people may turn them off, but have to understand, for a lot of these countries without the backing, it's going to be a slow, long process. And that's even if any of them actually get to that point, 10, 15, 20 years down the line. We don't even know. But I still watch it because, like I said, it's nice to see that there is some competition out there. Like, I don't like watching. I mean, I still watched it before when it was clearly that the U.S. was going to do, and they just dominate team after team on the way to the championship. But I think it's going to be interesting this year because I mentioned some of the teams already. If I'm looking at 5 nations I could see winning the World Cup, obviously the U.S. is in that group. I think Spain, Netherlands, maybe Germany. England. Probably the 5 I'd go with. And out of that 5, the biggest threat to the U.S. could probably be Netherlands, to be honest. So the U.S. starts their three-peat tonight at 9 p.m. I have plans on doing a watch-along, so make sure that you look out for that. If anything comes up, obviously I'll, try to catch the second game, but I'm interested to see the new group of U.S. players, how they can kind of play together and how good they'll look. So, yeah, that's kind of all the topics I had. So, young Kobe, like I said early in the stream here, I usually do recorded videos for episodes, but I kind of want to just do live ones from now on. That way, I can, go back and forth with you or whoever in the chat. I think it'll be more fun for you guys, more enjoyable for you, as well as it kind of would be more fun for me to have somebody to actually talking back and forth with. So the plan for the channel, I'll just lay it out there. The FIFA 23 videos are going to continue. I'm going to try to do 4 or 5 of those a week. I think watch-alongs are obviously going to continue. I'd like to do 1 or 2 of those a week on the channel. Then episodes like this, once or twice a week. And, we'll just kind of go like that from here on out. I think France can take the USA, but big teams in men's soccer aren't big in women's. Yeah. That's a crazy thing, too. You look at Brazil. For all the talent that's come through the Brazilian program on the men's side, the women's side, it seems like all we hear about is Marta. And they've had some World Cups where they have been non-factors. And you would think in a country that lives and dies with soccer like Brazil, that should not happen. Yes, Portugal, another great example. I mean, I think it's kind of crazy that countries like that aren't even supporting their women's teams necessarily. Because countries like that, it's soccer or nothing else, pretty much. And imagine how good Brazil could be if they had the same support as the men's team. Who knows? Maybe they would dominate the women's game too. I don't know. But that's just the tug of war that's going on in a lot of these countries. I mean, look at Mexico. The Mexican women aren't even in this World Cup. I mean, yes, their men's team is going through their own little period right now, but why is there such a drop off in some of these countries like that? I don't get it. So, but yeah, I probably should have had the bracket ready to go through. Actually, we can do that. Hold on a second. Let me find that and pull that up. Should have had it ready. That way we can take a look at the groups and kind of see potential threats, or I don't know, who to look out for, who could maybe make some surprise run to the knockout stage. All right, let's see here. Oh, they actually have a bracket challenge. That's interesting. Let's see how this goes. Okay. Although I probably can't do the bracket challenge because it's already started. Yeah. But let me just pull up the that website's not letting me pull it up. Hold on a second. But so young Kobe, who do you think are, let's say, top 3 contenders for the women's title? And how many games have you checked out so far? Oh, let's see. Da-da-da-da. They're not exactly making it easy here. Okay, here we go. You can go with this. All right, so looking at Group A, they've already played their games. So you have USA, France, and England. Okay. All right, so we have Switzerland, New Zealand, Norway, Philippines. I mean, I think it's going to be Switzerland and Norway coming out of this group, but New Zealand, look, they might get a bump from being the host nation. Maybe they crash the party. Who knows? Group B, you're looking at Australia, Canada, Nigeria, and Ireland. You know, young Kobe mentioned how Nigeria is wearing their generic uniform. I mean, I think the top two in this group already, Australia and Canada, are probably the favorites to go through. Group C, you got Spain, Zambia, Japan, Costa Rica. I'm looking at Spain, probably Japan coming out of that group. Group D, you got China, Haiti, Denmark, and England. This one's going to be England and I would say Denmark coming out, although China will make it interesting. Group E, yeah, US, Netherlands, Portugal, Vietnam. We talked about Vietnam and Portugal not being great teams necessarily, so I think it's going to be the US and the Netherlands, which when those two meet up, I'll definitely be tuned into that game. Group F, France, Brazil, Jamaica, Panama. Yeah, France. And I feel like you have to go with Brazil there. Once again, um, with parents that are Caribbean, I would love to see, Jamaica make it through, but I don't think I could pick them out of this group. Group G, you got Sweden, South Africa, Italy, Argentina. I'm thinking Sweden, and it's going to probably come down to Italy, Argentina. I'd probably go Italy in this group. Sweden's another team I didn't even mention. Sweden's like third or fourth ranked in the world. They could very easily be there in the end as well. And then Group H, you got Germany, Colombia, Korea, Morocco. I'd probably go Germany and Korea. So, I mean, yeah, we'll definitely revisit this as the group stage goes on. I'll probably have to do an episode before the knockout stage gets underway and probably do some predictions for the knockout stage. I wish I had thought about that before it actually kicked off, because I could have done, the bracket challenge and, turn that into part of the episode. But get that out of here. Yes, like I said, here on out, episodes will be live, which means I'll probably cut them down to like one or two a week. Whereas with the recorded videos, I would do, some weeks, one every day. In terms of live, I'm not going to do a live every day, because I don't even know if there's enough topics going on right now to do one. But yeah. So with that, like I said, had fun doing this. Appreciate young Kobe coming through, Jordan, Coach Mo as well. Hopefully now, I would love to get a schedule down for these, but to be honest with you, I can't. So just be on the lookout. Hit the notification bell. That way, go live. You get the notification that I'm live. You can come in and we can just chill for like, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour and just have some fun going back and forth on some sports topics. But yes, so make sure you check out the channel on YouTube, Twitch, whatever, for the FIFA 23 gameplay. The next live stream for that should either be maybe tonight after the USA game or tomorrow. And then we'll kind of go with that. I'm trying to go through. I'm in League 2 right now with my creative team, trying to get to the Premier League and get that done either before EA Sports FC or maybe a little after EA Sports comes out, but don't want to stick around with it too long because I plan on getting into EA Sports FC for sure. And I might play some other games, I don't even know, but I'm sticking with FIFA 23 right now. So when I get out of here, you'll see the little screen with all my socials. Make sure you follow me everywhere because I'm going to get more involved in TikTok as well. Facebook Reels, whole bunch coming. So make sure you stay tuned with me and go down this journey with me. We're making some progress on the channel, but I know bigger things are ahead. So I appreciate all of you for tuning in. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. Be safe out there. God bless. And I'll catch you on the next stream. All right. I'm out of here. I'll see you later.